Let's take you live now to KwaZulu-Natal, where hundreds of flood victims are still living in community halls. Thousands were displaced during the April floods, and many who lost their homes are waiting to be moved to temporary housing units. Today, the DA in the province is conducting an oversight visit to some of these halls. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan is there. Karinda, a very good morning to you. I would suppose that the living conditions there are still a bit of discomfort for those who have not been taken into fixed structures.
Indeed, discomfort is a lack of a better term, but you just see how people have been living in these community halls for the past 3 months now. Remember, the floods hit towards the middle of April, and you see here how residents or flood victims have had to take all their belongings, and they now only have a small part of this community hall where they are living, essentially sleeping on these thin mattresses, and it's very cold here at night as well. Another issue we've noticed is that there are no ablution facilities here, or bathing facilities rather. So they are using then buckets of water to wash themselves in some of the temporary toilets that have been set up. Now, this is how people have been living here for a very long time. And remember, they lost their homes in April. And we spoke to one lady now who said that she even still has nightmares about her entire home being washed away during the floods. But you see here another issue my colleague Pilani Zuma behind the camera showing you is that the community or the residents that are living here are wholly dependent on donations for food or using their grant income to buy food, because they don't have any proper access to any sort of kitchen room for them to cook food. So they're also depending on donations where they can store dried food and cook it on gas stoves. Now, one lady here said that they have not been told anything about getting any proper homes, essentially. And so the DA has been conducting these oversight visits where they'll go to several community halls and see how the community is living, and of course then raise questions to the KwaZulu-Natal government about essentially the lack of providing temporary housing units as fast as possible. But I'll just quickly grab the leader of the DA in KwaZulu-Natal, Francois Rogers. Thank you for joining us. Your oversight visit today, tell us about the purpose of it and what for you is going to be the potential outcome.
Karinda, I think the most important thing is 3 months after the fact, after the floods, we've still got communities living in halls, such as we're at today. So I wanted to update myself as to exactly what the status is. This is the first of the visits that I'm going to be doing. And the biggest concern is it seems to be a blame game. eThekwini seems to blame the provincial government, and provincial government seems to be stuck in the middle. Now, my information tells me that National Treasury had said to both provincial government and to eThekwini, if you need assistance, you need to give us the information, the data, and we'll be able to assist you with grants. And my understanding is none of that's happened. At the moment, the provincial government is just lurching from one crisis to another. It doesn't have the necessary funds. Initially what they'd said is there was no property to build temporary housing units on. Property's been acquired, and the bulk of the money apparently has gone to the acquisition of that property. Now there's no money left for the top structure. So that's going to be my question to the Premier and to the MEC of Human Settlements. Have you submitted a detailed plan to National Treasury to get funding for this? Because 3 months down the road, just over 100 units have been built, and we've literally still got we've got thousands of people still living in these dire circumstances.
Thank you very much. We're going to be catching up with you across these visits, but we have noted that there are 84, there's a little child playing behind us, there are actually very small children all around, and of course with them, they are living in these community shelters. We heard a few weeks ago that because of the lack of privacy, the children are also in danger as well because of what they're seeing in these community halls. There are 84 mass care centres across eThekwini. According to the KZN government, they say 44 possible land parcels have been linked to these centres, but there's been no proper rebuilding started as yet for a number of mass care centres as well. So that is the situation on the ground, but we'll keep you updated as we visit more centres and speak to those living here, the flood victims, about their worries and their concerns, and it goes on to month 3 with living in this mass care centre.
Very well, Karinda. Jagmohan, we leave it there for now, as we will continue throughout the course of the day to bring you updates on that story.